This weekend I had the opportunity to play in the Las Vegas CCQ at SCGCon, and first blush reaction, it was a lot of fun. I've never played in a large scale tournament like this before, and being in a room with so many other players all vibing on Disney Lorcana was an absolute blast. Uh, Set champs, uh, locals, kitchen table, none of it really prepares you for an event like this. Um, I learned a ton, and what I wanted to do was kind of present some of the things that I learned over the course of this event. So, in the hopes that if you're a newer player or thinking about participating in something like this, you can listen to my experience and hopefully feel better prepared to participate in something like a CCQ or a DLC in the future. In the interest of full disclosure, these lessons do not come from a place of success. I finished with a record of 3-6, and I will admit that one of those wins was because my opponent never showed. But one of those losses, I will say, was because it was the last round. It was the end of the night. I'd been there forever. I was tired, and I decided, you know what? One more round, win or lose, isn't going to make a huge difference. So I decided to head home a little early. So, taking all of that for what it's worth, here are the 5 things that I learned at Las Vegas CCQ. So the first one's a little more high level. It's come prepared. And that may seem obvious. I mean, you're there to play Lorcana. You want to be ready. Know your deck, know your play lines, know the meta. But what I really mean is prepare for the physical toll that a tournament like this can take on you. Like I said, there were 9 rounds. Each round was 60 minutes long, and none of them finished on time. They all overran by anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes. And for an event that started at 9:30, that adds up to an end time somewhere about 12 hours later. It was a long day. Fortunately, I kind of anticipated this, so I was ready. I wore comfortable clothes, I had on comfortable shoes, and I had my pack ready. In that pack was my Lorcana stuff. I had my deck box, I had my play mat, my trade binder, I had my notebook, but I also had water in the form of a hydro pack. I had some sports drinks for the electrolytes, and I had snacks, some sandwiches, some chips, some beef sticks, some Cliff Bars, a few treats, and partially it was to keep my energy up, and partially it was to avoid paying high food costs at the venue, because this event was held at the Westgate, which is a resort just off the strip, and food there was not cheap. So double bonus there of not spending extra money on food and keeping myself physically ready to play. My next takeaway, it's a little bit more specific. It's Ruby's not dead. I know a lot of people have been quick to dismiss Ruby, especially after Fabled and barely showed up in the meta. Ruby is still very much viable. As I said, I lost my 4th round to a Amethyst Ruby build. It wasn't close. A lot of my matches were actually surprisingly close, both the wins and the losses. This one was not. I was nowhere near a victory on this one. He just dismantled me up and down. I loved his deck list too. He was using the Headless Horseman, which I love. He had that new rare Diablo, that 2-drop Diablo. And he wasn't the only one running Ruby Amethyst. Donald Yee, who won the event, he also had an Amethyst Ruby build. So Ruby's very much a viable color. And with set champs not that far away, I might start looking back at it because I love Ruby. I played it in previous metas, Ruby Sapphire. Maui Shark is one of my favorite cards. So I might look at this to see what I can do with it in the future. On that same note, I should have trusted myself more with my deck. The reason I say that is because I had 2 that I was considering. I had Sapphire Steel, I had Amethyst Steel. One was a more mid-range control, which I really like. One is aggro, which I'm comfortable with, but not as much. And the night before the tournament, I went with that Amethyst Steel deck. I thought it would batch better into the meta. I should have trusted that little voice in my head that said Sapphire Steel. It's where my heart is. It's where I'm more comfortable. I don't know if I would have won more, but who knows what might have happened if I had listened to that little voice. So I guess the takeaway here is to learn to trust yourself. You know the kind of player you are, and don't be afraid to lean into that. On another more specific note, I don't like Spooky Sight. Like, this card was interesting when it first came out. I love the art of it because I'm very partial to Sleepy Hollow. So having Mickey, Donald, and Goofy running away from the Headless Horseman is really cool. But this card's not great. Like, it's an uninkable 6 cost, so it's super expensive. And yes, Sapphire can ramp into it, but the problem is the one time that it got dropped on me, it did clear my board, but it ramped me into my victory. When I was talking to another player about it, he had a similar experience, except he wasn't on the receiving end, he was on the giving end of that. He lost a game because he played Spooky Side on his opponent. Under the Sea was just, I know they're not on the same colors, so you can't replace one for the other typically, but I was playing against Baja in one of my matches, and Under the Sea completely ruined my day. So I don't like Spooky Sight. Don't play it. So my last one is, it's setting reasonable goals. And the reason I say this is because this event was big. It wasn't just Lorcana. Magic the Gathering was there, Flesh and Blood, pretty much every major TCG with the exception of Pokemon. So there's a lot to see, a lot to do. And if I just focused on winning this tournament, I would have had a bad experience. So I set other goals for myself. I wanted to have fun, which I did. Check that box. I wanted to get the experience, which I did. And I wanted to add some shiny cardboard to my collection. So my last takeaway is the cardboard that I took away from the event. First up is a promo from first DLC season. It's a character that I love from a movie that I love. It's probably my favorite modern Disney movie. Modern being from like the 2010s, 2020s. It's the DLC promo of Baymax Armored Companion. Look at that. It's non-foil, but still so beautiful. I'm not going to play with it, but I'm glad to have it in my collection. I'm going to put it back in the sleeve because I don't trust myself. On that same note, this is an enchant that I've wanted. It came out with Azurite Sea. I've wanted it for a very long time. It's, again, from Big Hero 6. It's the enchanted of We Could Be Immortals. Look at that card. Absolutely beautiful. Not super high value, but just a beautiful card to add to my collection. Next up, this is one from Fabled. A great card, an iconic character, not an iconic, but it's Mickey Mouse Steamboat Pilot. I love Steamboat Willie. I think it's such a fantastic cartoon. And having this iconic representation of Mickey in my collection really, really checks a box for me. So excited about that. But it's not the one I'm most excited about. I have a daughter. She's 3 years old, and she's obsessed with Frozen. And when Azurite Sea came out, there was one enchanted that I wanted to track down. And it took a while, and I had to trade 2 other enchanteds for it. But I finally got my hands on All Is Found about 10 months ago, I think. And what I love about this card is the art style reminds me of Mary Blair, who was an early Disney artist. She did some beautiful concept drawings from Cinderella, and her art style is all over It's a Small World. Plus, again, I have a daughter. She is very cuddly, and this pose just melts my heart. So I had to get All Is Found. And then, of course, it wasn't the last of the Frozen songs they turned into an enchanted. A couple of weeks ago at one of our local shops here in Vegas, I traded for, can't hold it back anymore. I love the styling of the Whispers Enchanteds, the gold coloring, the swirls, absolutely beautiful. But when I went to the con this weekend, there's a card I've been trying to track down for months. Very expensive, relatively speaking, and I knew it would be hard. But I found a copy there, and it wasn't beyond what I was willing to give to acquire it. So I traded in some cards, and I finally have completed the trifecta with Into the Unknown Enchanted. I'm so thrilled that I have all three of these Frozen Song Enchanteds. I really am. And just a fun story about this one. A couple of, what's it been, back in June, my son and I were in California. So we went down to downtown Disney, and, it was during Reign of Jafar. So I'm like, oh, let's get some Reign of Jafar. And we went to the pin traders there, and there was a guy ahead of me in line who bought some loose packs from the box they had there. He pulled this card in front of me. It was like the universe slapping me in the face. But I have now tracked that white whale down, and I'm feeling very happy, very satisfied. So I checked off my goals for this con. So all in all, just to kind of sum up, it was a great experience. I had so much fun. Will be doing this kind of thing again. And I cannot highly encourage this enough. So if you're on the fence considering it, please do yourself that favor, make that jump, and go participate in these large scale events, because there's nothing like it in the community. There really isn't. And cross your fingers that next season Vegas gets another DLC. I hope. Oh, I hope. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.